Have you ever daydreamed about creating YouTube videos that people actually watch but didn't know where to start? Like me a couple of years ago, you probably worry that all the work you put into YouTube might be for nothing and your channel will never take off. But don't worry, in this tutorial I will take you through my whole YouTube filmmaking process, from choosing the right gear and crafting compelling content to setting up your shots and optimizing your videos for maximum engagement. By the end, you will be ready to create captivating videos that grow your channel. When you're starting to create YouTube videos, you might wonder about the best gear. Fortunately, today's consumer products are so good that you can likely begin with what you already have.
Hey.
What's that?
Oh, I just got a camera. I told you I want to start this YouTube channel.
But we just got the new iPhone because the camera is so good.
Oh, that's true. There was something. Too late.
Most modern iPhones and mid to high-end Android phones are actually good enough. So start with them. Dedicated cameras may offer slight improvements, but the quality gains for cameras below $1,000 are often minor. The whole video until here has actually been shot on the iPhone 15 Pro together with the DJI Air 3 drone. I bet you did not recognize that, but from now on I will use proper cameras like the A7C Mark II here, because they are just a bit more fun to use and I like to have fun when I shoot my videos. You can use pro camera apps like Blackmagic Cam, Kino, ProTake or Filmic Pro to learn all the professional camera settings. That will prepare you for using actual cameras. Just use your rear cameras, as they usually have better quality than the selfie cam. You can also buy affordable lenses and filters from Freeware, Sandmark and other companies to make your phone's camera look more like normal cameras. A notable mention for an affordable dedicated camera though is the DJI Pocket 3. It stabilizes videos perfectly and includes a decent internal microphone and an even better wireless mic in the creator combo. Perfect to film yourself, but not so great for close-ups and product shots. For more camera recommendations, check my yearly camera buying guide, linked in the description. Gear you will definitely need is a tripod. Luckily, any cheap tripod from Amazon is good enough to get started. Just ensure it supports the weight of your camera setup. From my experience, these tripods will likely break after about a year, so if you're still making videos by then, invest in a better tripod later on. I recommend tripods from Freewell, Ulanzi or Peak Design. The latter is expensive but will likely last forever. More important than your camera and tripod is actually the microphone. You can get away with lower video quality, but if the audio is bad, people will stop watching quickly. The main microphones to know about are shotgun and wireless or lavalier mics. Shotgun microphones are great for vlogging and can also be mounted on a mic stand to bring them closer to your mouth for better audio quality. Wireless and lavalier mics clip to your shirt, which also improves the voice quality, but they are less convenient for on-the-go filming. For beginners, I recommend the Rode VideoMicro 1 and 2, VideoMic Go 2 and DoD VMic D4 for budget shotgun mics. The Rode VideoMic NTG is a more versatile but also more expensive option. Shotgun microphones last forever though, so it does make sense to invest a bit more. For wireless mics, the Saramonic Blink 500 is a good budget choice, while the DJI Mic 2 and Rode wireless mics are excellent higher-end options. For a podcasting setup, consider the Shure MV7, which reduces background noise and room tone, but will always be visible in front of your mouth, as you have to get very close to it. If I were starting over, I would get a wireless or a lavalier mic first, because they're quite flexible overall. You can use them, for example, with your normal camera, but also with your iPhone, and you can get them close to your mouth easily, so they give you good audio overall. The exception would be travel vlogging, because their shotgun microphones are just a bit more practical. Also more important than your camera body are lenses. I recommend to start with a wide-angle lens for YouTube. The 16 to 20mm range is great for vlogging and 20 to 24mm for static talking head videos on full-frame cameras. For B-roll, use longer focal lengths like 35, 50 and 70mm, as those bring you closer to the subject and have a more natural feel. On cheaper APS-C cameras, these numbers have to be a bit lower though, because the sensor is 50% smaller, what essentially zooms the shots in by 50%. So you have to multiply the focal length by 1.5 to get the full frame equivalent. For example, a 30mm APS-C lens has the same field of view as a 20mm full-frame lens, and a 16mm APS-C lens equals 24mm on full-frame cameras. I recommend the Viltrox 13mm f1.4 and Tamron 11 to 20mm f2.8 for vlogging, and Sigma 16mm f1.4 for static shots on APS-C cameras. The Viltrox 27mm f1.2 and Sigma 18 to 50mm f2.8 are amazing and affordable lenses for B-roll. For Sony full-frame cameras, the 20 to 70mm f4 is versatile enough for vlogging and B-roll, though it has a bit less background blur. You can save some money on lenses by buying used, just make sure the seller is legit. And there's another piece of gear that's also more important than your camera: light. To save money in the beginning, start with natural light from a window. It can already look pretty good if you sit close to it. The problem with window light though is that it changes often, affecting your video's brightness. That's why investing in proper studio lights over time is crucial. Cheap Amazon lights with a softbox will work initially. Either get a set with 2 lights or 1 light and a reflector. In the long run, it makes sense to invest in better lights though, because they make lighting your videos a bit better and easier. Like here for my YouTube studio setup, for example, I only have to press a button and all the lights turn on, except for that there. And the lights that I'm using are the Zhiyun Molus B-series lights, and they do a very good job. You will also need a proper computer for editing. Mac Minis or MacBook Airs with Apple M chips offer great value. 8GB RAM in those machines is enough for simple projects, but 16GB plus is better for complex ones. For Windows, get a decent graphics card and take the same recommendations for RAM. Also ensure you edit off SSD drives for best performance. HDD hard drives are only good for long-term storage as they are much slower. The video editing app I recommend the most is DaVinci Resolve, as even the free version is already plenty powerful. Final Cut Pro is also a great app and a bit easier to use, but only comes as a 90 days free trial and costs $300 after that. No matter which editing app you choose, you will always need plugins and templates to add fancy effects, titles and looks to your videos. The plugins that I mostly use are from Motion VFX, which is also the sponsor of today's video. Motion VFX offers a huge library of high-quality plugins for both DaVinci Resolve and Final Cut Pro. As a becoming YouTuber, you definitely want to check out their MTuber and M-Channel Modern plugins. Those plugins bundle all sorts of titles and effects that you will need to lift up your videos easily. Their title and logo animations make your videos look a lot more professional, and combined with their transitions and backgrounds, your videos become more interesting to watch. I use their titles and animations a lot in my own tutorials. Looking for cinematic colors? Their MLUT plugins give your videos cinematic looks with the click of a button, while also giving you a good amount of control. That's great when you're starting out, as color grading takes some time to learn, but you want your videos to look good, right? For Final Cut Pro, they even offer AI rotoscoping. That makes it super easy to mask out objects. So you can, for example, put text behind a person and create all sorts of other effects. But the main reason I love Motion VFX is that their plugins still work many years after purchasing them, because they regularly update their plugins via the M-Installer app. Many other plugins I bought before stopped working after a few software updates of my video editor, but with Motion VFX plugins I never had any issues. I will leave links to my favorite Motion VFX plugins in the description below, together with a 10% discount code, so definitely check them out. To wrap the gear part up, I can only say that your first few videos are all about learning. So even if your gear is not perfect yet, start with whatever you have or you can afford, just to gain experience. And that's the next question: how do you get started? The first step in making videos is planning. Without a plan, your video will likely be pointless, or you ramble too much in front of the camera and therefore lose viewers. So spend time planning your videos. Here's how I do it. The planning process starts with knowing what your YouTube channel is about. If you just make random videos, there's no point for people to follow your channel. So start by writing down what kind of videos you want to make, about which topics and for what kind of person. Think about what problems your viewers have that you can help them solve, or at least what topics they are interested in if you want to create an entertainment-based channel. That also makes it easier for you to come up with interesting ideas, which is important because if your video idea isn't interesting, no one will watch it. To come up with ideas for your videos, you have multiple options. An easy way is to simply do some research online. You can type keywords into YouTube search that your viewers might look for and see what keyword suggestions YouTube gives you. These keywords are great to create videos around. You can also research on websites like Reddit to find questions people are asking, so you can make videos answering their questions and solving their problems. Another way is to utilize trending topics. Look at what everyone is talking about or doing within your niche and give it your own spin or share your thoughts about it. Soon ideas will also pop up randomly in your head. That usually happens when you least expect it, so be prepared.
Hey Siri, remind me in 1 hour for how to make cinematic funny cat videos.
Okay, I added how to make cinnamon funny cat videos for this morning at 10:58.
In addition to Siri, I also have a Notion widget on my home screen that allows me to note video ideas quickly. The problem with ideas is that most of them suck. That's why the first part of my video planning workflow is ideation. I do some research on YouTube and Google to see if an idea might actually interest people and explore different ways to frame it. For example, how to make cinematic funny cat videos might not be popular, but tips to improve pet photography could be. So spend a few minutes refining each idea to ensure it's interesting and valuable. If not, move on to the next one to avoid wasting time on videos no one will watch. My next step is keyword research. That's good for search engine optimization and to ensure people actually look for what your video is about. I also find it important to be clear about the point of each video, and defining a main keyword that I target helps with that. For the keyword research, I use the YouTube search bar to come up with relevant keyword suggestions and a tool called TubeBuddy, which shows me even more relevant keywords. I note all these keywords so that I can include them in the text of the video later when I upload it.
These tags are not super important anymore to optimize your videos, but even if they only help a little bit, I would rather have them in there than not.
Choosing a main keyword also helps crafting your title, which is essential to plan along with the thumbnail before shooting. I generate 10 title ideas myself and then I ask ChatGPT for more suggestions. By combining my own titles with the AI ones, I usually end up with pretty good ones. Sometimes I switch titles after a few days to optimize for homepage clicks first and later for search ranking. Search-based titles should include the main keyword and ideally at the beginning. Titles for the homepage should be catchy and need less emphasis on keywords. Planning the titles and thumbnail early ensures they are not afterthoughts, as they are crucial for attracting viewers, so do that before shooting the video. The title works together with your thumbnails, so plan that next. Look for similar videos on YouTube to see what thumbnails work, then develop your own ideas from there and write them down. Aside from that, make sure that the thumbnail makes it clear what the video is about or makes the viewer curious to watch it. It should also be easy to understand, as viewers will move on otherwise. A great tool to visualize ideas is ChatGPT version 4.0. Just ask it to draw your ideas and it will do so. Its thumbnails often look good already, but I only recommend using them if your video is AI related. Especially for a camera channel like mine, it's important to show my own work. So use ChatGPT as an assistant, but don't let it create the final product for you. That counts for everything, not just thumbnails. My next step is research. On big videos like this one, I write down everything I think should be in the video, plus more information I find on the internet as a simple bullet list. That ensures that I don't leave anything out. For small videos that don't require so much information, I skip this step and go straight into writing the script or outline, which is our next step. When you're writing a script, it's important to give it a story structure, so that it has a beginning, a middle and an end. The beginning usually introduces a problem, a goal or an objective and its importance. The middle shows how you overcome hurdles towards the goal, and the end reveals the outcome and lessons learned. I write down the story structure by answering simple questions before scripting. You can download these questions as a free PDF attached to this video. I want to thank Ali Abdul for inspiring this part of my workflow. The story structure works for all types of videos, including product reviews. Even there, you can start with one or multiple problems the product solves to tell a story. When it comes to writing the script, use a simple outline instead of an actual script for small videos, just to stay on point. For longer or more complex videos, create a detailed script starting with an outline. The outline acts as an index in this case, allowing you to fill in the parts of the script under each point. That makes writing the scripts a lot easier compared to starting with a blank page. You can also add a bit of fun while writing the script, just like the iPhone sequence you saw at the beginning of this video. Just be creative when it comes to that. Writing a script takes a bit of time, but it improves the video's quality, makes it straight to the point, and saves a lot of time during filming, so it's worth it. The last point in my planning process is writing a shot list. That can also be either simple or more complex depending on the video. To get started, you have to understand the concept of A and B roll. It's simple. A roll is your talking head footage, while B roll shows what you're talking about. For a full script, I define which parts show A roll and which B roll using colors to mark them. Blue for A roll at home, green for A roll outside, and white for voiceovers. That are parts that show B roll while I talk without showing my face, just like right now. From there, I create a detailed shot list with sequences, transitions, and complex shots like motion time lapses. Each shot or sequence has a number and location, and I plan the shot and its type, whether it's wide, medium, or narrow. I also use 2 check marks, one for capturing a shot and one for copying it to the project folder. This ensures that all shots are captured and organized. This level of detail is only necessary for complex videos though. For simple ones, just list the necessary B-roll shots to complement your talking points and keep the viewers engaged. Including at least some B-roll shots makes your video overall more engaging than just a talking face, so always include that in your YouTube videos. At the end of my planning process, I schedule all my shoots and editing days as tasks. These tasks automatically appear on my Notion dashboard, so I always know what I need to do each day. Talking about Notion, I've also created a Notion template for you with my step-by-step process, a central task manager, and a centralized shot list. This means all tasks from your video projects, private to-dos, and other projects like web design in my case, appear together in one place. When you open Notion, it shows you all your tasks for today and tomorrow on your dashboard after scheduling them inside the projects. Perfect to stay organized. The shot list is streamlined too. If you need to film for multiple videos in one location, you can filter by location to see all the shots you need to get there. No more searching through multiple Google Docs. The template also includes a habit tracker, is well designed and easily customizable. If you want to simplify your planning process, you will find the link in the description of this video. But let's finally come to filming your actual videos. And now, the visuals are not the most important part, it's actually your audio. Getting good audio is crucial because having bad audio makes people leave even if your visuals are great, so definitely follow the following tips. First, bring the microphone close to your mouth using a boom stand if you use a shotgun mic, or by attaching a wireless or lavalier mic to your shirt. This captures clear and crisp audio thanks to the proximity effect. You can improve the sound quality further by using soft materials like curtains, carpets, foam panels, or furniture like sofas to dampen the room and reduce echo. That often makes a bigger difference than buying an expensive microphone. Also, always check that your mic is well plugged in and that the levels don't go into the red areas on the level meter on your camera to avoid distortion. I always do a quick audio test before filming to avoid frustration. Every filmmaker can tell the story of messing up audio these ways, so take that seriously or you might have to record twice. Additionally, you can use AI effects such as Adobe Podcast AI or voice isolation in DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut Pro to enhance your voice and reduce background noise. You can also make adjustments in the EQ panel of your video editor to make your voice sound even better. For example, you can raise the lower frequencies in case it sounds too bright, and the opposite. But now, let's finally get to the filming part. To capture a good-looking video, your environment, your camera settings, and lenses are important. Start by cleaning up your environment. A clutter-free space makes your video look more professional and ensures distracting objects are out of the shot. Of course, if certain items or even clutter enhance your story, make sure they are included. To make your videos look good, lighting is the most important factor. Let's start with window light to keep it affordable. Sitting straight in front of a window makes your face rather flat looking. That can be good to hide imperfections in case you have a beauty channel or so, but to make it look cinematic, better sit at an angle to your window because that throws shadows over your face, which gives the impression of depth and therefore leads to a more dynamic look. Your background should usually be a bit darker to separate yourself from it, but it shouldn't be too dark. So play around with the available lights in your room and curtains to adjust the lighting of the background. When you can afford it, you should move on to using proper video lights though, as they are more consistent and give you more control. To get started, use a key light as your main light source, a fill light or a reflector to brighten up dark shadows, and a backlight to separate you from the background. Only using one light can be enough as well, especially when it's combined with the ambient lights of your room, but having 2 or 3 lights makes it easier to get it to look good. I also have a more in-depth tutorial about lighting. You will find it like always in the description below. Aside from lighting, a blurry background also helps to focus attention on you. To achieve this, use a lens with a low f number, ideally f1.8 or lower on APS-C cameras or f2.8 or lower on full-frame ones. For B-roll shots, get closer to the subject to achieve background blur even with higher f numbers like f4. Regarding lenses, narrower focal lengths like 35mm or higher on full-frame cameras are better for capturing product and close-up B-roll shots as they bring you closer to the subject. The Viltrox 27mm f1.2 is a great budget option for that, and my overall favorite APS-C lens. On your phone, use the 2x or 3x tele lenses for such B-roll shots and ensure there's a good amount of light for best quality. If you only have a wide lens, you can also use your camera's crop mode to digitally zoom in without losing much quality. Refer to your camera manual to find this option. It's usually called something with crop or clear image zoom. For lighting your B-roll shots, side and backlighting techniques work great. Backlighting means placing a light source like a window, a video light, or the sun within the 180-degree angle opposite your camera. This creates an interesting look, but the shadows can sometimes be a bit too dark. In that case, you can brighten the shadows with a second light or a reflector, or you can use side lighting to highlight the important areas of your subject. Also, always ensure your camera settings are optimized for the best video quality. Always shoot in 4K and make sure the autofocus is set to face tracking if you film yourself or others. Set the autofocus to focus area for B-roll footage, and at times where you want the focus to stay where it is, switch to manual focus. That's important as the camera otherwise wouldn't know where you want it to focus. If your lens doesn't have a button for that, use the quick menu or a button on your camera to switch to manual focus. For detailed guidance on using your camera, watch my free videography basics for beginners guide here on YouTube. Also, if you're serious about learning how to get the best footage out of your camera, check out my practical videography course, which covers all the essentials you need to know, plus videography drills that teach you videography by gaining the right experience fast. I will leave links to both the free tutorial and my course in the description below as well. The next challenging part when you record your videos is talking to the camera. It just feels awkward in the beginning. So here are a few tips to make it easier. When you're talking to the camera, composition is important. Ideally, you should be centered and not too low in the frame to avoid too much space above your head. I also prefer placing the camera slightly below eye level. There are more ways to frame your shots, but that's enough to get started without overcomplicating it. From there, look mainly into the lens and not on the screen, because looking into the lens feels like if you would look into the eyes of the viewer. While doing so, imagine you're talking to a friend to keep it natural. You wouldn't constantly stare into his eyes, but you would also not look somewhere else most of the time. So look into the camera around 90% of the time, but also look a bit around sometimes and use your hands just as if you would naturally talk to someone else.
If talking into the camera still feels hard for you, try doing something else while talking into the camera, because then you're not so focused on it and it makes it feel a bit more natural, like you would actually talk to a friend, and that's the same for you but also for the one watching. Of course, maybe if you're in awkward positions like I was right now mounting the camera on a tripod, it's probably not the best idea. Keep it simple.
Another tip when you sit in front of the camera is to lean slightly forward. I noticed on myself and other YouTubers that we tend to lean back a bit while talking to a camera, so that our eyes essentially move down to look at it. That feels weird and can easily be solved by just focusing on leaning a bit forward. That also makes the viewer feel like he gets more attention.
From there, I can only say don't worry too much about making mistakes and repeat what you said if necessary, because you can still cut out the bad takes later in the edit. I do that all the time, and also now I have to do that because this is already my 6th take of this part of the script. So don't worry.
Like so often, training is key. So practice often and keep the camera rolling all the time for outtakes. Ideally, talk to the camera every day until you get comfortable. You mustn't publish the videos, just look at each one and imagine what you could do better. To speed up recording the A-roll, you can also use a teleprompter, but I wouldn't recommend it in the beginning because it makes you sound robotic, so learn to talk freely to the camera first, and if you want, add a teleprompter later. Aside from talking into the camera, you can also film yourself to tell your story better or to emphasize certain points of your videos. There is the saying show don't tell in the filmmaking space, which literally means that the more you're capable of showing without telling at all, the better it is. Of course, it's not always possible without talking, but even then it's still better to show and tell instead of only telling. So, better learn how to film yourself. Here's how to do it. A good way to film yourself is to capture 3 to 5 different shots of whatever you do to create a sequence. This usually includes a wide shot, a close-up of what you're doing, a close-up shot of your face, and shots of your environment, also called cutaway shots. For even more variety, capture multiple angles of the same action. You can just do the same thing a few times and change your camera position, distance and focal length or the whole lens. When doing so, make sure that you do everything exactly the same every time. If you use your right hand to hold something in one shot and in the left hand in the other, it won't fit. So you really have to think about all those details while filming yourself. When capturing such shots, you should also often use manual focus. Otherwise your camera might focus somewhere it shouldn't. Lighting is also crucial, but it's exactly the same as I told you already, just use back and side lighting to keep it cinematic. A little lighting hack for such shots is to choose a room that has a very big window and just shoot everything around that window. If this window has white curtains, that's even better as it softens the light. Aside from that, you either want to use a tripod to film yourself or bring a friend to add some camera movement. If you don't have friends, a camera slider can do the job as well, and in the long run, they are often cheaper than friends. Just kidding. Okay, that's a lot and it will take you some time to implement all of that. So my most important tip to get started is to capture a good variety of shots, because that gives you more flexibility in the edit and you learn more what's most important when you're starting out. After capturing all your footage, it's time for the edit. Honestly, editing is pretty complex and I made a whole ultimate guide about video editing for beginners not too long ago, so just watch that to learn all the basics about video editing. It's also free on YouTube and like always you find the link in the description below as well. But here's one tip I want to give you, and that is to forget about retention editing, as it often makes your videos worse. Many YouTubers, including myself, started editing in a pretty fast-paced way over recent years because of all the short-form content and Mr. Beast style videos. That can definitely work for certain video formats, it's not necessarily wrong, but from my experience it makes videos generally worse because it takes away personality, and as an editor you likely focused too much on that fast-paced editing instead of actually creating informative and meaningful videos. So instead of only thinking about the retention and YouTube analytics when you edit your videos, better think about the experience for the viewer. How do you want your viewers to feel after watching your video? How can you make it easy for non-professionals to consume your information? And how can you show without telling? These are a lot more important than retention editing will ever be. Another part of editing is color grading, and here I have to say don't do much in the beginning because it can get difficult and there are more important things to learn when you get started. However, I have a little tip for you to make your videos look better that you can even implement as a beginner. If you want to make your videos look a bit better without much work, either use a Fujifilm camera such as the XS10 or XS20 for nice film looks straight out of camera, use the Kino app on your iPhone to do the same, or get some good looking LUTs from your Sony or Panasonic cameras like the a6700 and S5 Mark II. I recommend the Phantom LUTs from Joel Famularo as they make your footage look like Arri cinema cameras. Newer Sony and Panasonic cameras can bake these LUT files into your videos, which act the same as Instagram filters, just better. These are the easiest ways to get pretty good looking colors straight out of camera. You might want to read the manual of your camera though to learn how to set it up. But don't leave now, because I also have a few more tips for you to create YouTube videos even faster. My first tip is to capture sound effects while shooting your videos by always having a shotgun microphone attached. That saves a lot of time editing videos if you want to have sounds in the background, because otherwise you would have to spend hours looking for sound effects. Also, listen to stock music in your free time on platforms such as Epidemic Sound and Artlist, and add the good tracks to your favorites so you have to search less when you edit your videos. I will also link both music platforms in the description below. You find great music there without getting any copyright strikes on YouTube. That's why there's no way without one of them. After recording, use AI apps like Gling to cut your A-roll fast. Such apps automatically remove pauses and filler words, and you can cut the rest just by editing text. That's a lot faster than editing the A-roll in your timeline. In the long run, you should also build a YouTube setup at home with fixed lights and maybe even a fixed camera. This way you don't have to set anything up to start recording. You generally want to streamline your process as much as possible over time, so automate repetitive tasks and create templates for titles, transitions and effects that you often use to edit your videos. To come to an end, I want to remind you of one important thing, which is that you should not worry too much about YouTube analytics, because YouTube analytics can be a bit confusing at times, because on one side YouTube analytics is good because you can use that data that you get there to improve certain parts of your videos, certain aspects at least, but it can also be confusing at times because maybe you have a video that doesn't perform good, that doesn't get many clicks, so you might think, for example, that the thumbnail or the title is bad, and then you work on that all the time, while in reality the reason why it doesn't perform good is simply that the idea of the video is not very interesting for many people, so obviously many people don't click on that. So you waste all that time working on the title and thumbnail, while in reality you did everything right and you would just have to make the next video with a better idea. So overall, when you get started making YouTube videos, see it as a learning process, and instead of looking at the analytics all the time, just try to make better videos. A good way to do that is to simply rewatch your own videos after 1 or 2 weeks after publishing it, because then you have headspace, you're not connected to the video anymore because you're out of the edit mentally, and then you have the capacities to judge your video and see if you actually like to watch it, if it wouldn't be from you, and if not, then what you could improve upon. That's actually exactly the same way as I started out, because when I started on YouTube, I did not do it to make it my full-time job, which it is today luckily, but I just did it because I wanted to make better videos, and I was a complete camera noob. I wanted to make better travel videos, and I knew that one of the best ways to do so is to simply make videos all the time and try to improve with everyone, and that eventually led me to YouTube becoming my full-time job. So definitely see it like that, because if you do that, you're also more patient and you also have more fun, you enjoy the process a lot more. So see it as a learning process. 2 good ways to learn more about videography are watching those videos here, which are pretty similar to that one, but on other subjects, video editing and using your camera for videography. Also consider subscribing if you learned something today, and I see you in upcoming videos. Bye!